Greetings, everyone. It's your buddy Churrasco Voltor with Gnarlyseabass.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah, we had an impromptu little visit, a cool little drop-in, and we decided to go on a little game hunt for 2 days. And in 2 days, I think we did some damage.
We did some pretty decent damage at the local video game shops, and we got like a pretty good variety of consoles going on here. Without further ado, I think Churrasco is going to start us
Let's
off.
start it off. I'm going to start it off with this little gem that Gnarlyseabass recommended.
This is a great game.
He told me this was great, and this was the last rack of this particular store that I happened to look at. And I said, hey, check that out, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And I had heard good things, and you verified that it is indeed a good game.
Yeah, so it's basically a Star Wars beat 'em up, and it has some 3D flight, like dogfighting sections that are actually really well done for the time. Yeah, the cartridge is currently in your system.
Yes, it's currently in my DS because I was testing this out yesterday, and I will admit this is pretty cool. It's like a Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic with a cool little upgrade system for the combat.
I played this game through several times when I was younger, which is rare for me because I usually just never finish a game, or I finish it once and kind of let it go. But me loving beat 'em ups and kind of the added dogfighting parts are really cool. I think you're gonna enjoy this one.
Awesome. I am super excited to check this one. I heard it's a very short playthrough too, right? So I should be able to vanquish this in a day or two.
Yeah, because you play as Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Nice.
So,
very cool
stuff.
Very cool game. All right. This is really cool.
Keeping up the themes of the handheld games, I've been holding off on buying the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time for a very long time now. So this is the Nintendo Selects version of it. I never played Ocarina of Time in the N64 days. I know Churrasco really hasn't either. I'm not sure. Have you beaten this game?
I have the cartridge on the N64 for both Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, just because they were kind of essentials, and I haven't really dived into them.
Yes, these are staples of gaming, really. And here we have it portably. I think it has some quality of life improvements, but I just had to get it. So here it is, Ocarina of Time on the 3DS.
Very cool. Let's see. You want to finish off with the last handheld, which kind of feeds into...
Pretty much, yeah. So here we have the sequel to Ocarina of Time. Very awesome artwork.
Yeah, that
Very
looks
awesome.
really cool.
I've honestly been holding off on buying these couple games for at least like 10 years now. I have these digitally, but they're on my Wii, so the resolution isn't as... It's actually improved in this handheld.
The guy said that it runs a million times smoother than on the original hardware on the N64, which is really impressive. Really shows how far technology has come, even back then.
Yeah, so you guys all know Majora's Mask, a classic that I need to play through, but very excited to finally add these onto my 3DS collection.
Very cool to have both of those.
Indeed.
Let's see. I'm going to start off with this one here. This is not as exciting. This is Remember Me for the PS3, a game that it's kind of funny because even the title says Remember Me, everyone forgets that this game exists. This is a Capcom game, a third-person action beat-em-up, futuristic, cyberpunk memory-stealing game or something, from what I can tell.
Capcom has excellent one-offs.
Yeah, they really do. And this was released, I believe, back in maybe 2015, so this game's about 10 years old. I'd seen copies laying around in one particular store that we went to, even last year, and I said, I'll come back for this. And sure enough, yesterday, we were at the store and I had to pick it up. This is dirt cheap, and it looks like a kind of a neat little game.
Yeah.
Excited to check it out.
Yeah, some it's kind of like some brawler mechanics, I think. And I don't know. You're gonna have to let me know how this one plays through. I'm sure you'll plow through it in a weekend or something.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Remember Me.
Remember Me. You'll probably forget it and be on the shelf forever. What's we got?
Let's do some Wii stuff.
Nice, some Wii stuff.
So I kind of cheated on the next couple titles that I'm going to show off here because these were gifts to me a long time ago, and I had them stashed in a plastic bag in one of my game boxes that I have down here in Florida still. And we have on rails shooting Resident Evil action, the Umbrella Chronicles. I'm not
played this
really
for a bit.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this has been ported over to any other consoles ever, but a neat little cooperative experience here. What do you? I think this retells the stories of 0,
Yeah.
1, and 3 or something like that. That's kind of where it falls in the Resident Evil canon. But what did you think of our maybe half an hour experience that we had?
I think we played. We played the first couple stages. It was neat. I like on-rail shooters to a certain degree, and playing with two people is even cooler, and especially on the Wii, obviously. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was the graphics are actually, they're
Not bad.
very nice for the Wii. They're very, very nice. Everything looks nice and crisp. And we were playing through the train section for Resident Evil 0. We made it into some kind of castle and fought a giant man bat that was attacking
And
us.
some monkeys too. I don't know.
Some
Resident
monkeys,
Evil
yeah.
is just
Resident
all
Evil
over the
goes
place.
off the rails. My only complaint that I did not enjoy was they
The
used
leeches.
The leeches. So, for those of you that don't know, spoiler: Resident Evil 0 has the Leech Man as an enemy, and he spawns leeches, and leeches form together to form a man of leech or a leech man. And the problem is, there's a mechanic that you hold down a button and you swaggle the Wiimote to use your knife. And there are certain sections where I think the developers got just lazy and said, all right, we're going to throw leeches at these guys for like 30 seconds straight. And all they're going to do is waggle the remotes back and forth for 30 seconds until the leeches get tired, bored, move on, or whatever happens. So that's my only complaint.
Yeah, pretty much same. And hey, happened to be Capcom. I did that by accident. So maybe we'll move on to the next one, which is...
We have more Capcom.
Oh, there's so many Capcom pickups.
Mega Man X8
Oh,
for the
man.
PS2. I've been looking for this game. Not a whole lot, but I've been keeping an eye out for a copy.
I love the cover art.
The cover art is amazing. Happened to finally find a copy because this is not really an expensive game, but I find it hard to come by in the wild. It's the cool thing about it is that it's the last of the X series that I needed to complete the X series collection. So I am really thrilled to have this.
You have the compilation disc, which includes, I guess, X through
X1 through X6.
Yeah. And then you have the separate release of 7, which I heard was not great.
That
Not
game's
great.
trash. I have X7 and now X8 on the PS2. And this was really cool. I like the kind of cel-shaded 3D graphics that they used for the run-and-gun platforming action.
Yeah, so no longer your retro style, like pixelated
Right.
visuals. This is more of a 3D experience,
Yeah.
which I'm not terribly familiar with the X series, but it was kind of surprising to see, the Mega Man gameplay in a 3D world. It was kind of weird, but the 10 minutes that you played were cool. I liked it.
Yeah.
Like it looked like traditional gameplay, just a fresh coat of paint on it, and it's cool now that you have all the X games.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat. And if I ever want to play them canonically, that means I probably will never get to play this because X7 sucks.
It does suck. That's what I heard. More Capcom. More Capcom shills. Resident Evil, The Dark Side Chronicles. This was also in that smelly plastic bag that was long forgotten. I could have sworn I lost these games, or maybe I dreamt them up in a fever dream. But no, I had both of the point and click, or I guess on-rail shooting, light gun, zapper games in the Resident Evil universe here. This was another gift. We have it nice and complete here, a nice copy. We didn't get to play this one.
Maybe we'll a little bit later.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be better. I know it's the one that follows Umbrella Chronicles, and this one covers like different episodes of the Resident Evil universe. I'm not really sure where it falls in there, but it looks interesting.
I'm going to assume that it's Resident Evil 2, mainly, because there's the police zombies,
Police
and
zombie.
Leon's there with Claire. So I'm going to assume that's what it is. And here's Chris back there, and Brooding Dude, I don't know who that is. But we should definitely check that out maybe later today.
It looks neat.
And then to finish off the Capcom kick, I believe, I have one of the pickups I was most excited for. This is Shadow of Rome
Very
for the PS2.
minty copy.
A super minty copy, and I was wondering, it was so minty, it looks like I bought it at EB Games just yesterday. But no, what happened is they replaced the case with a brand new case, basically, and everything else was pretty mint, actually.
That's fine.
Yeah, which I don't mind. It looks really nice. And now, as I say, it looks really nice. The case won't close. That's cool, because, you know, why not? All right, there we go. So this is a 3D brawler, arena-based brawler, from what I can tell, where you're this gladiator named Agrippus.
It's
And-
supposed to follow like actual historical events, maybe. I don't know. There's some things like the assassination of Julius Caesar and all that good stuff.
It kind of, if Gladiator was a game, Gladiator the movie with Russell Crowe, I think this is basically it. They should have just put Russell Crowe on the cover because it's essentially the same tale. You basically, someone in your family, I believe, gets framed for the murder of Julius Caesar, and you get thrown in the Colosseum to make up, I guess, for your family being traitors.
Super bloody combat, very over the top stuff, but it actually looks pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, and it's very ambitious.
Yeah, there's a lot of storytelling. There's segments of the game where you're like this little skinny dude and you have to do some stealth. We didn't really experience that yet, but yeah, there's combat and stealth segments. So
There's some open, semi-open areas where he has like flashbacks before he was a gladiator, when he was a centurion for Rome, and he battles barbarians. It's pretty cool stuff. One of the coolest things that I think you'll agree, was the health system. At one point, we were beating up a gladiator, and then we found it just said meat, and it was.
I think the crowd is throwing meat chunks at
yeah,
you.
it's like a turkey leg or like a chicken leg, and it's massive. And so your character grabs it, and you would think, oh, just by grabbing it, I'm restoring health. No, you have to mash the square button, and the dude starts chowing down on this thing like it's corn on the cob, and you're running around the arena chowing down on this like chicken leg while some dude with a mace is chasing you around.
It's amazing.
It's really cool.
It's kind of like a funny Estus flask mechanic from Dark Souls.
Yeah.
You got to actively eat the meat, which is pretty hilarious. The sandy meat.
And the last thing I'll say about this game is that it was actually went up in price for a while. It's coming down, so if you guys are keeping an eye out for Shadow of Rome, I'd say pick it up now. It's not really an expensive game, and it's definitely worth your buck. Really cool game.
Neat game for sure. Tarasco, I think you should go ahead and
Sure.
we'll even up here.
I'm going to go over to a game that I was not expecting to buy at all. This is the Jurassic Park collection, which includes 7 classic games in one disc for the PS5. Because everybody knows that the whole reason to buy a PS5 is to play Sega Genesis and Game Boy games on your PS5.
You get so many frames.
So it was funny. We were looking around for Jurassic Park 2 on the original Game Boy. Because
The chaos continues.
The chaos continues for the original Game Boy, and I have so many memories of playing that with cousins, and we grew up and beating that game in the car, I think.
Yeah, just on car rides,
Yeah.
visiting relatives and stuff, we would be glued to our Game Boys playing the Chaos Continues, and it was an awesome game, very cool, just
Yeah.
simplistic run and gun where like you're the guy just killing dinosaurs indiscriminately, but it's a really fun game, and it's included on this absolutely massive collection of 7 games. But what else is on here, Tarasco?
Well, the other games that are on here are nostalgic to me. The Super Nintendo first Jurassic Park game and the Jurassic Park 2 game on the Super Nintendo, which I own both on cartridge. And I have, I think, some of the Genesis games that are included in this collection on my multi-cart. The Genesis games are atrocious, maybe because I don't have nostalgia for them. And the SNES games are all-time classics. And there's also the NES Jurassic Park game, which I'm very curious about. But the beloved JP2 Game Boy is on this. And Limited Run, I think, caught a bunch of flack, or this collection caught a bunch of flack because it's very lackluster. There's like no art gallery, and it's just the games. So
Yeah.
people kind of pooped all over this. But I found it at the game store for next to nothing, and it was a brand new game, according to the resident wizard of the store, because he said that when it came, it was loose, and he had to open it to pop it back into the spindle. So I picked it up for next to nothing, and I'm really happy that I don't have to hunt down the little Game Boy cartridge anymore. And I have a bunch of other games on here.
Exactly, and love the cover art there. It
Oh,
looks
it's
really,
fantastic.
really cool.
Yeah, but really, really cool.
Good.
I didn't expect us to pick this up at all.
Good little collection there. Let me show off the only PS4 game that I picked up on this trip, and this one was a complete surprise to me. I have no idea what this was, but I'm kind of a sucker for these downhill domination-esque games.
It's physics-based bike games.
Yeah, extreme sport, downhill biking, essentially. Also a big fan of Lonely Mountains Downhill. I think that's actually my favorite biking game. But another one here to add to the collection. And another thing that I'm a sucker for is procedural generation. So in this game, you basically, you pick a mission set or something, but the tracks are always different. And then there's like a challenge for each track, like, don't wipe out or don't let your foot off the gas pedal type deal, and you get these little accolades. The other surprising thing was, I don't know when this game came out, but I mean, just like, it looks very, how did you describe it, Trosco? Like, I made this game in my garage?
Yeah, kind of like, hey, check out what I made at home type of thing. It's, and it had like, it was cool because they had like little, check us out on stream or check us out on Twitch. And check us out.
Get on
these guys
Discord.
really wanted to sell their stuff. Whoever these guys, these Rage Squid guys or No More Robots, really went all out and wanted to make this a big thing.
Yeah, so like there was people that were still playing this game online because you boot into the lobby and there's like, people
Like a base camp.
Yeah, in a base camp, and you see their usernames. So people are still actively playing this game. And something that a lot of fans of the series say that it's easy to play, but really hard to master.
Yeah.
So the skill ceiling is there, which can add to some replay value. It runs a little rough. It's kind of lackluster, to be completely honest.
It's definitely a more budget title.
But it was like $15.
It was next to nothing. And if you're a fan of these physics type of games like Trials or Fusion or
with the ragdoll physics, obviously, when you
Right.
slam into a tree and
Then-
just kill your biker, it's awesome.
yeah, it looks like a fun time.
I've never seen it ever in my life, too. So just had to add it to the collection. But neat little game for $15
Very
bucks
cool.
if you see it and you like bicycles and stuff. Get this game.
Definitely cool. The next one I'm going to show is one that's been somewhat on my list for a while. This is Dragon Guard 3.
PS3 Blue Label.
Yes, very late release in the console's life cycle because of the aforementioned Blue Label. This is Square Enix joint by Yoko Taro, which is the man behind Nier. And I'm not going to let you see my registration code because I know you guys want to steal it, obviously.
God forbid.
So this is I think, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I guess it kind of feeds into the Nier storyline, like it's a prequel or it has a link to it. One of the endings has a link to the Nier games.
That's really interesting.
And this is basically a third-person slash-em-up where you play this girl named Zero that's on a quest to kill her 5 sisters with the assistance of a dragon.
Think like Dynasty Warriors style gameplay, like mobs of enemies, and you're just like decimating them with your blade and parrying and doing the whole roll dodge thing. The initial or the starting environment was a little bit bland. Hopefully it gets a little bit more exciting. I was a little hesitant to even like check out the game. I was kind of advising Tarasco to maybe skip out on this one and pick up some other game. But to be honest, like the simplicity in the gameplay is sometimes exactly what you need. And I found myself actually having fun in the starting area, just slicing dudes up, and you have like an assistant dragon. What's that all about?
So the dragon in the beginning, I think it's Michael, but I think Michael bites the dust pretty early on. I think you get a different dragon later on, and he's just cool. One of the main reasons I will admit is this game, obviously besides being made by Yoko Taro or designed by him, Dragon Guard 1 and 2 are on the PS2 and are extremely expensive games, so some FOMO got me here, I will admit, for this PS3 version. And I've always thought it looked like an interesting game that might become a very niche pickup down the road. So once again, FOMO strikes, and I just kind of had to have this game as the curiosity really got me. It's supposed to be very edgy. Runs kind of like crap, but it's definitely, you can tell it's a little bit budgety, but it's a fun time. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to playing through this one.
You should get the collector's edition that includes a life-size dragon plushie.
A dragon plushie. I think it has like a novella in it or something like that. Something ridiculous. It's like $300. No, I'll stick with this, thank you. But yeah, really cool. I'm glad I have it.
All right, suit yourself. Well, speaking of giant plushies and dragons, War of the Monsters.
War of the
Man,
Monsters.
what a minty copy.
This is very nice.
I've been looking out for this game for a long time, ever since I played it here at Tarasco's house. We basically have a 3D brawler, kaiju, giant monkey, Donkey Kong, or King Kong fights like robot monsters and stuff like that.
Yeah, giant man
Destroying
rock monsters.
cities and all that. Like, think Godzilla.
Yes.
That style of stuff. Unfortunately, my copy did not come with the very awesome poster, but Tarasco has it, so that's good enough for me. It kind of has like a vintage look to it. The local wizard at the game shop was actually telling me that the Xbox version of War of the Monsters was almost a completely different experience.
Really?
It has Godzilla included in the Xbox
Oh
version.
man, I might have to pick that up now.
What the PS2 version has different is that kind of like, what's that? I don't know, the grainy film
The green
aesthetic.
film filter.
Yeah, that whole thing is exclusive to the PS2. But
That's
I think, Godzilla's kind of cool.
That is kind of
So
cool.
once
I
you
didn't
get your
even know
Xbox
that.
fixed.
I kind of wish that you hadn't told me about it. I probably need to get it on the Xbox also.
Yeah, but very cool. Awesome price for this. And I'm really excited to add it to my collection because I love monkey
And giant robots are always cool too.
yeah, no, so this is cool. And honestly, the game itself is very neat.
Yeah.
Very, very neat. So
Very cool game.
War of the Monsters, finally in my collection.
Very cool. The next one is a very kind of a judgy pick, so you can't say much. But
Shield your eyes.
Shield your eyes, boys and girls. I got BMX Triple X for the GameCube. Keep it dirty, says Acclaim. This is one of the games that bankrupt them into nothing. This
I wonder
game,
why.
Yeah. This game, and I'll open it in just a second. For those of you that don't know, BMX Triple X was released on the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube. Surprisingly, it has some features that you can make topless female riders with completely, like no sensor bars, no nothing. Like everything's out there, and you can unlock videos of strippers from the. There's a New York-based strip club called Scores, and you unlock videos of them when you beat the campaign or something. Really weird, really crass. I've never played Dave Mirra's BMX or Matt Hoffman's BMX or whoever the generic dude's name is that did the BMX games. I never really checked them out.
Was it this guy?
It was not that guy.
Oh, okay.
But it was maybe a similar guy. But apparently this used to be a big deal when it was coming out, and the sponsorship, like the celebrity, whoever it was, one of those generic dudes dropped out. They didn't want to sponsor this because they heard it wasn't doing very well in development, and they did not like being associated to the nudity and the,
How dare he?
I know, right? How dare he care about his reputation? So
Who is that guy even?
who is he now? Who knows? But the point is that this is funny because it was censored in the United States on the PS2 only, apparently.
Out of all the consoles.
Nintendo, good old family Nintendo, decided to keep in the boobage, which is very, very interesting. And so did Xbox, but the PS2 censored it with its censor bars and all that.
We didn't spend half an hour researching online and Googling how to create a topless biker. We didn't do that.
It just happened.
It happened. You don't have to beat the game.
No.
It's not a cheat code. It's just kind of like a variation of the pasties top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We just stumbled upon it.
We stumbled upon it. We weren't even
researching or anything.
So this particular copy is also really cool because it actually came super complete. Like
this is a once in a lifetime purchase.
Yeah, this is the manual right here, obviously. Precaution booklet.
Pages are sticky.
The pages are kind of a little sticky. They're stuck together. And it has the poster. Watch, YouTube is going to flag this now. This girl that obviously is a BMX rider with her bike here.
That's a good trick.
Yeah, so really cool, complete copy. How much will I be playing this? I don't know, but I just had to. And the fact that it is not the censored PS2 version makes it even cooler in a weird way. All right, getting that out of the way.
I wonder if I could customize
That guy. Just make that guy topless.
Speaking of guys, bad dudes. Churrasco knows more about this game than I do, but we briefly tested it out. It's just basically a classic beat 'em up.
Yes.
And me being someone that loves beat 'em up so much, I had to add this game to my collection. A very rudimentary, very old school, NES beat 'em up, and you're a bad dude, and you got to save the president, that sort of stuff. From ninjas. Yeah.
So the cool thing is, well, initially I gave Gnarlyseabass some misinformation. I thought this was 2-player co-op simultaneously, but it's more of the old school Super Nintendo Donkey Kong, like you go, I go.
Take turns.
Yeah.
Because your NES would explode, I guess, if you were
from all the
both.
awesomeness, all the dudes that would be on screen.
Too many dudes.
Too many dudes. The NES can only handle one dude at a time.
But several ninjas.
Several ninjas, though. But it's a really cool game. Like you said, very, very basic. But the soundtrack is exceptional.
Yes, level 2 has some sort of riff on Bloody Tears.
Yeah, from Castlevania.
And even though they're unrelated, right?
Right.
This is not Konami.
This is Data East.
Yeah, it was, back in the day, it was the Wild West in terms of like intellectual property rights and stuff. But a very cool song in Stage 2, essentially.
Very awesome.
You're on a semi truck that says "dudes" on
Yeah,
it, right?
apparently it exports dudes. It's in the business of exporting and importing dudes all over the city for you to fight as a dude. And it's really cool. The first boss is actually Karnov from the other Data East game of the Karnov.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. It's a fun game. I'm glad you have it. And this game goes for dirt cheap. And I think it's a worthwhile addition to anyone that enjoys a good beat 'em up.
You know what? And I'll actually never forget this game because we had to save the president, and we bought this game on 4th of July. So
that's I didn't even think about it.
Pretty sweet, right? So
yeah, very, very cool.
Bad Dudes.
Very awesome. And the last game I picked up was actually, I think, the coolest experience that we've had. River City Girls for the PS5.
This game is awesome.
Very nice copy. Complete with the my first limited run card of the schoolgirls being accosted by a muscular lesbian at a bar. And the full color manual with a cool like reversible art in the back. Really neat game. I've been looking for River City Girls for a while. I know there is a collection of 1 and 2. Not 0, but 1 and 2 that came out in Japan only, and I was about to get it, but I wanted to see if I liked the game. And this was like $25. And it's very pixelated. It's very much a throwback brawler.
Yeah, like a retro style side-scrolling with multiple planes and stuff. WayForward knows their stuff, man.
Yeah.
Anything that they publish honestly has my recommendation because it's usually a really good game. And like you said, there's a part 2 to this. River City Girls 0, if you guys are wondering, that's like super old school. It was a port of like a Japanese arcade game that never released in the West, but they released 0 on PS4 and PS5, modern consoles and stuff. Pretty different from this new wave River City Girls thing. You're actually dudes in that game. You're chicks in this one.
Yeah.
You have what is it, Misako or Katsuko?
Misako and Hiyako or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
They have
awesome,
names.
awesome multiplayer beat 'em up right here with some RPG elements to it. You have a map that you have to do some backtracking in, but it's like mission based. Oh, and it's actually pretty hilarious.
The humor was fantastic. It has some like little cutscenes with comic book like panels. And it's really nicely done, and it made us laugh.
The dialogue genuinely made me laugh, which is rare for video games nowadays, but very tongue-in-cheek and hilarious. I think this might be the pickup of the video.
I think so because of how much fun we had with it. I mean, we've been playing actually a lot of beat-em-ups while you were here. We played a Streets of Rage 4 a lot, the challenge rooms, and this one though was a pleasant. We played this for a few hours last night.
I think you could knock it out in about 10 or so I'm not sure we'll be able to finish it on this trip, but and it doesn't have online.
It doesn't.
So.
That's the big downer because if it had online, we would play online. And one of my controllers has stick drift, so the whole time that he was playing as Mina or whatever her name is, he was fine, and then Hiyako was sprinting across the screen frantically for no reason every single time and falling off platforms, which was frustrating. Curse you, Sony, and your stick drift.
I know.
But other than that, fantastic game, really fun, and yeah, I think my favorite pickup of the weekend.
So Tarasco, a fan favorite request is always that you do a stinker, and even though we've had a very short time with these pickups, I think a few might come to mind, and I'll name mine. Mm-hmm. It might be a little just I'm ham-fistedly electing a stinker, but
Yeah, it's tough.
I'm torn between just like just sheer quality. I think it's a little crappy, but gameplay and concept very cool. The leeches piss me off in this, but I don't know. It's honestly they're both. I enjoyed both. I just if I had to pick one, it might be one of these. This is overall the best one of this trip. And Tarasco, I don't know. I'll leave the floor to you to. Tell me which one you think might be the lamest.
This sounds harsh, but I'm going to go with the Jurassic Park collection. And only because I get the complaints. Like, they include 7 games in here, which is really cool. Only about 3 or 4 of them are good. The others are kind of trash. I think the Genesis games have... if you guys are Genesis kids growing up with the games, you might have fond memories, or maybe I just don't have the patience for them. But they just aged terribly. They were very difficult.
They look like puke.
They look terrible, obviously. Not like the Game Boy one looked much better or anything like that, but I guess, nostalgia goggles for this one, and it would have been nice if Limited Run gave a damn and maybe included like a little gallery or something. There's just a rewind feature and a home screen, basically, is all you get. Or maybe a little, I don't know, the guy said it came new, but maybe a manual inside with some dinosaurs.
Limited Run started doing this thing where, like, their actual retail releases, they wouldn't include manuals. They would only include manuals, like, in the actual limited stuff, if they're even still doing limited, or they just keep printing stuff.
So,
but yeah, so
it would have been cool. It would have been cool if like it came with a card with like the the little raptors at a bar being accosted by a muscular lesbian dinosaur or something, like kind of like they did in River City Girls. But really, really cool games. I think in general, we picked up a lot of quality stuff.
We love our video games. We love our video games. I think we bolstered our collections a little bit more on this trip, and played some cool beat 'em ups, some cooperative games, some on-rail shooters. I had a blast as usual, and I'm already looking forward to the next video.
Yeah, this was a cool visit. I'm glad you were able to swing by.
Very impromptu, but very awesome.
Yeah, indeed. So thank you guys for watching. I always appreciate the viewership. And Gnarlyseabass, thank you for hanging out with me and collecting these games. I look forward to the next one.
For sure, Tarasco. Thanks for having me, and I'll catch you guys soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.